Previously on Talk That Talk.
This is what I see. We now operate everything off of a loud minority. And that loud minority, for whatever subgroup exists, is now the voice of the most extreme concept behind anything. It's done with mass ban. Like, for instance, we know that there is a history of inappropriate conduct with some mass bans, right? We also know the converse, that there is a history of inappropriate behavior in ban, period. Our problem is we don't ever know how to not all lives matter some shit. If I'm talking about Black women issues, someone comes in and says, what about Black men issues? Well, right now, we're talking about this issue. And so what happens is everybody wants their time in the sun. Me and my friend talked about this all week. Everybody wants their time in the sun. And as soon as we think someone's turning the sun down on our little piece of land, we get defensive, we buck up, we scream, well, what about my life too? We sound like Trump supporters. We do, about issues. We sit there and we say, well, you saying that illegal activity. No, we're not saying that. We're not saying that there aren't unqualified educators. There are whole shows that have been done about unqualified educators. That's the topic of that show. And we talk about piss poor training at our HBCUs. That doesn't also mean that all HBCUs are piss poor. But we have this idea that we must polarize the fuck out of a topic, because the real issue is everybody shit stink. And instead of when we try to compartmentalize, well, shit stink here, then someone in another group says, well, your shit stink too. Instead of being able to address the problem in its proper context, in its proper box, then we always want to all lives matter another box into it. The shit is dumb. It's tiring, and it gets nobody any goddamn where. It gets nobody anywhere, because at the end of the day, you're right. The numbers in mass bans do look good. Engagement is there. Give it to you. Something is going right to have kids engaged. But I also always push this back. I have a son, and my son sometimes finds joy in doing shit he shouldn't be doing. That doesn't mean that I throw my fucking hands up in the air and say, well, fuck it, Matthew's enjoying himself.
He off the street.
He's right. I don't say that. And there was something, and me and Deontay talk a lot, and I respect a lot of stuff he do, because I've seen him educate. I've seen him go through the process of what an evaluation means in a band room. But in that same vein, when it's time to talk about why some school band directors programs are not thriving, the go-to now from one delegation is because those niggas suck.
Yeah, and that's why I have a problem. Say what I said, because I think that's a disingenuous.
That's disingenuous. It's just as disingenuous to say that all mass bands suck. That's why I refuse it. You see, my name today is Divergent. It's just as disingenuous. I've been told indirectly today to shut the fuck up. And I ain't said I hate mass bans. Matter of fact, I had a live about this shit. And then somebody was like, before they even heard the first 30 minutes, they already had their mind made up, because all we do is respond to trigger words at this point.
Yeah.
And I said, my first year's teaching was not in a classroom. It was running what? Community-based bands. Kids, you trying to get off. Matter of fact, that was the sole purpose, to get them off the street. Get them off the street. Give them something to do. But I also lived a life that when you don't do that shit right, and the people who are way above our pay grade start shutting down the recs, because that shit happened in Baltimore. They start shutting down every place you can rehearse, every place that you can even remotely do something in a community base, then everybody suffers. So I get it. I get it. But our fight back when someone has an opposing idea is shut the fuck up. You don't know what the fuck you talking about. I was born on the damn street. I'm from Southeast DC. And you know I said Southeast. I wasn't on a track to go to college. But when you know better, you do better. When you know better, you do better. And guess what? Everybody is going to be at that whatever comfort level they are with what it is they're trying to do on this earth. But what I don't really have any tolerance for is that fucking disrespect just because it's a disagreement. Like that's intolerable to me. I don't care about your sound concept in a mass band. I don't care. I don't care about your approach. I don't care about your arrangements. I don't care about your rationale behind doing it. Because guess what? I'm not doing it. Enjoy, have at it. I only care if kids are going to get hurt. And I keep that care in my classroom. I keep that care when I see somebody else doing some off shit in their classroom to kids. That care transcends my little corner of the world. And how dare somebody think because you are a band director by day that if you see somebody doing some wrong shit to a kid, then we just turn it off and say, well, that's what they do over there. Would that work if we saw someone getting raped? Would you go to a store and see somebody jack up their kid and you just be like, oh shit, that's their business? No, that wouldn't be morally sound, right? But here we are, we see shit and it doesn't matter. And then the comment is always, what the fuck does that have to do with the tea in China? And that's what we do. Well, they're bad educators. No shit. We all know that. Did we have to really say that out loud? Well, there's some people who touch kids. No shit. But my problem is we always have these arguments until Robert Champion. We don't ever thought it would happen until it happens. And then everybody suffers for it. And we're not supposed to care until it happens. We're the most reactive group of people I've ever seen in my life. We always respond. We are never preemptive. We never plan. We never approach it we always got hindsight and wonder why our schools look like shit. Bands are small in schools. And then the same group of people send their kids to the damn school they talk shit about. When the last time you been at the board meeting, PTA meeting? You ain't never been, but you got a lot. And then you want them to open up their school? I call bullshit on everybody. It's egos in a phallus swinging contest, and I don't have one. I don't have penis. And women don't have a dog in this fight anyway, because I have yet to see one of us running any of it. And we can count the HBCU band directors that are women on one hand. But I'm sleeping. And I'm a hater.
Say, and you preaching with Quan, I'm gonna give both of y'all the reverend title. I think it's irresponsible that comparison of yes, kids and grown-ups, but when they go to college, they're around stuff. I think that was irresponsible for us to put that out there like that's an excuse. I that really bothered me, and now I can articulate it because I had time to think about it. When a parent drops their kid off at college, either they an adult already or they close. Okay, what are we? Bye. What are we saying that? Oh well, nothing is capped off yet, or if they see it here, it ain't this. It don't matter because they gonna see it in life anyway. Is that what we're saying? I don't know that that's okay. The other thing of, what's the point? If your child come here or the student comes here and learns something bad in 3 weeks, that's your fault. First of all, if we're talking about students, they ingratiate themselves and learn the way of whatever they're a part of at the time. That's what kids do. So that's BS. I call that BS. Because what they do with me is going to be something different than what they do with you, because what you're gonna do is be different from what I allow. So that's BS. I just don't try. Semantics is semantics, and don't accuse us of semantics when what you're doing is promoting semantics. Kids being around bad things in the context of going to college and being a 13-year-old around grown men drinking and smoking weed are not the same, and we're not going to convolute that. You saying that kids may learn something from you and do something different with me, that's your fault. That's bullshit. Kids are going to do what they see as acceptable. Hell, people do with only what they allow, what they feel like they can get away with. So they might not do any of that stuff with their band director, but may get with you and see that it's a free for all, and I'm gonna do what I want because my band director ain't here. So let's not play this game that if they get to me and do something different, it's my fault or a band director's fault.
I